In this video, we're going to be covering email marketing for realtors. If you're new here, my name is Jeff Adolphi. I'm a marketing consultant that helps realtors master paid ads. I do offer a one-on-one consulting service as well as done-for-you services, so if you're interested in those, then click the link down below. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. So in today's video, we're going to be covering email marketing strategies for realtors. The power of email marketing. So with email marketing, you have three main things that you benefit from: direct communication with leads, building trust and credibility, and nurturing long-term relationships. Direct communication is nice because unlike a social media post or even an ad, you get to speak directly to the lead and nurture a relationship with them. And unlike an SMS message, you get to add more visuals, more charts, more data, and really just get creative with it and really make it appealing and catch their attention. And one of the other things that's good about emails is that they can be automated. And then building trust and credibility. Now, this kind of ties into the third bullet point, which is nurturing long term relationships. But the longer you email them and the more value that you provide, over time, you're nurturing that relationship, which pretty much means you're gaining their trust, which is always good, making them more educated, and that allows them to look at you as a local expert and local authority. So, now the importance of a targeted email list. Now, like I said, you could add data, add charts, add everything that you want, but you want to make sure you're adding that for a specific type of prospect. So, a good way to do that is segmenting your email list into buyers and sellers. That's one way to do it. You don't really need a CRM to segment your prospects into the buyer and seller buckets because this is something that you could just add in on your lead form or integrate it into your opt in process. So that's not too hard, but this is really good. This allows you to lead with more value because you don't want to be sending all the seller stuff to buyers and the buyer stuff to sellers. Now, another way you could segment your prospects is by location. Now, this is also really good because, like with the buyer and seller buckets, these geographic buckets, you can send them information based on their specific location, localized information about property trends, events, and market updates. This is really, really nice. It feels more personal when you're sending stuff directed to their location and their neighborhood. And then if your prospect has any specific preferences or interests, then you could tailor your email to those, which would make it even better. And then within either the geographic buckets or the buyer and seller buckets, you can niche down even further and get even more personal and more specific. And as we see in the third section, we can niche down even more. So say you have a buyer and seller bucket. Within the buyer bucket, you can have a bucket for first-time home buyers specifically. And then investors as well. They're still buyers, a different type of buyer, but they still are a buyer. You don't have to get too crazy at the start. You could keep it simple, either just do buyer and seller or just do location. But buyer and seller is the easiest to start with. And now we look at how to build that email list because those emails have to come in from somewhere and you have to get opt ins. So now the first one, which is really effective, is a lead magnet. And I think I touched on this in the introductory presentation, the digital marketing fundamentals. But essentially, a lead magnet is something you give to the prospect in return for their contact information. So if you have an ebook, for example, or a seller's guide, you would offer that. And for the prospect to get that guide, they would have to fill in a lead form, which asks for their name, phone, and email. So this is how you build up email lists. And you want to clearly communicate the value of subscribing to your email list, what they're going to get, what type of emails they would receive, if they would receive updates. They have to be getting some type of value for them to want to give up their contact information. And I always recommend using dedicated landing pages. You can use a lead form if you're running ads on Facebook, for example. Facebook, they have integrated lead forms on their platform. But the issue with that is when you use those and get leads through those, on average, they're going to be lower quality because they just get auto-filled with whatever information the lead signed up to Facebook with. A lot of times that information, at least their numbers, can be outdated. And you really want to have an up-to-date email and phone number from them. Moving them over to a landing page, there will be a drop-off in the number of leads you get, but the quality will be better. Just that extra 1 to 2 seconds it takes for them to load up the landing page will make a huge, huge difference. So if you can, do a landing page, but if you're just starting out, then you could use on-platform lead forms. Either way, you definitely want to have some type of lead form to get their contact information. Website integration If you have a website already, then you could easily integrate a sign up form onto your website, have it at different parts of your website, maybe one in the footer, a form on certain pages, things like that. You don't want to overdo it, but you definitely want to have more than one if possible. And always remember to communicate what the prospect would be getting if they gave up their email. Here in the second bullet point, we see that you can offer exclusive content or early access to property information. Those are things that are really valuable. And you want to make it really easy for the lead to opt in. Events and open houses, you can collect emails for these. This is sort of like a lead magnet. Although lead magnets are usually like digital products like guides, courses, stuff like that, actual in person events could also be used as a lead magnet and be used as something to gather email addresses. You could use sign up sheets or QR codes for easy access. And then when you do get the email, you definitely want to follow up with them, either for event specific content or if you got their email for another lead magnet, then you want to follow up with relevant information to that lead magnet. Now, managing and organizing your list once you have them. So, almost all CRMs will allow you to integrate your email marketing platform with them. Me personally, I use Go High Level. I really recommend it. It helps to have everything in one place, all your lead information, email marketing campaigns. If they're all in one place, it becomes easier to stay on top of it. And one thing you're going to want to do is regularly maintenance your list. So you want to clean your email list regularly, remove inactive subscribers, and last of all, keep contact information up to date because you don't want bounced emails. If you're getting bounced emails, then your email service provider will pick up on that and will start sending your emails to spam, and you do not want that. And another point about keeping contact information up to date is to avoid spam traps. If you're constantly sending emails to outdated and inactive addresses, then you may hit what's called a spam trap. And spam traps are designed to catch spammers. So if you just keep on sending emails to that outdated address, then you may be marked as a spammer, and you definitely don't want that because it will affect your emails to everyone else, even the active people. So definitely try to stay on top of that, manage your list, make sure you see where your emails are going. So now the actual emails. So there are three main categories you're going to want to stick to when creating your email campaigns. So the first one is property showcases, second, educational newsletters, and third, client success stories. So for property showcases, you need visual appeal. So definitely include high quality images and videos. This is going to be really important in catching the attention of your prospect. In addition to that, you want to have detailed descriptions and you want to make it easy for the prospect to see your unique features in that email. So definitely highlight those. You could use bullet points, but you definitely want to make it clear. And then most importantly, you want to have a call to action. Probably two call to actions depending on how long your email is. If it's long, have one halfway through and then one at the end. Or if it's short, you could just keep it at the end. This will get them to either schedule a viewing, request more information, or just contact you, book an appointment with you, or just call you. With your call to action, make it clear what the prospect has to do next. So don't just leave your contact information at the bottom and don't just leave a calendar link. Put the link and then right above it, tell them to book a call with you. That alone makes a big, big difference. Now, for educational letters, market updates works really well. Share some insight on what's happening with their current market, pricing, local real estate news, stuff like that. Tips and tricks for buyers and sellers, financing guide, neighborhood spotlights. These also work really, really well. Oftentimes, educational content will always work well, regardless of the niche, whether it's real estate, finance, or really anything else. So if you could get that down, then you'll be really good. Featured listings, showcase a selection of properties, make it diverse, have some single family homes, some townhomes, split level, ranch style houses. Try to make it diverse in order to cater to your audience, especially if it's a larger audience or you live in a city where there's a lot of different types of properties. And then client success stories. So this is where the social proof comes into play. Now, if you don't have any to start, then that's totally fine. But if you do, you definitely want to make it known that you have some success stories, testimonials, before and afters, and personal touch. So, you can include client testimonials with photos, if they're holding a just sold sign, maybe just bought, those type of things, or them holding their keys in front of their property. Those are always really nice. Property transformations. So maybe if you help somebody stage their home to get it ready to sell, that could be something you add in. Or just personal stories, personal anecdotes from people that you've worked with. Even if it's just written, that also works. Things like this will help build credibility. So again, these are just additional tips for creating engaging email content. So personalization, that's obviously really important. Clear and concise messaging, you want to make things clear and you don't want to make things too long, too wordy. Have some separation. So maybe have a short paragraph here and then some bullet points over here, some pictures with a caption. Diversify the content. Don't just make it one big block of text. No one's going to read through that. And definitely add visuals because visuals will always, always help. It'll make your content easy to digest. Subject lines are really important. And this is something that's easily testable. You can split test these easily, and I will touch on that later. In this case, split testing would be testing two headlines with the same body, with the same content, and just seeing which one gets a higher open rate. So that's an example of a split test. And then also have your content mobile friendly because, as you know, if you're directing traffic from social media platforms, there's a 90% chance that that person will be on their phone. Or when people check their emails, most likely they will be on their phone. So you want to make sure that your content is mobile friendly. When you're crafting your email on an email marketing platform, odds are they will give you the ability to look at the mobile view so you can see ahead of time what it's going to look like. So definitely take advantage of that. Now, automation is really helpful. You can use it for lead nurturing, you can use it to respond to inquiries, and you could also use it to personalize emails. So for drip campaigns, you can have automated sequences. It'll deliver a batch of emails over a period of time. Now, lead segmentation, this ties into the third bullet point, which is personalization. When automating your emails, you can set up a workflow, which pretty much allows you to send emails automatically based on whether that lead is a first-time home buyer or just a buyer in general, an investor or a seller. And the platform that I use, which is Go High Level, you can easily do this. And I'm sure in a lot of other CRMs or email marketing platforms, you can do it as well. And then finally, nurturing content. Based on who you're sending it to, definitely make sure to send them relevant content, market insights, success stories, anything that would help that specific type of prospect to engage with you. So now, automated responses. So timely responses, as you're probably aware, speed to lead is key. If you can get to that lead within 5 minutes of them opting in, then that's a huge plus. And the only way to really do that around the clock is through automation because if they come in at 7 p.m. and you're at dinner, maybe you might not be able to get to them as fast. So your automation could take care of that on your behalf. Appointment scheduling, now this is also something that can be automated, as well as follow-ups. You could have a 7-day drip campaign, 14-day drip campaign. The longer you're following up with them and nurturing them, the better chance you will have with moving forward with them. And then finally, personalization, as we mentioned before, you want to know who you're emailing. So this is why it's really important to know if your lead is a buyer, seller, investor, first-time home buyer, where they are, their preferences. This will help you to personalize the content to them. And then another neat trick is that based on clicks, based on how much they open your emails, you can also have triggers based on those behaviors and then have different email automations, different follow-ups, different scripts. And then this is also a good way to get them engaged. And then, like I mentioned, the workflows, you have different emails for different stages of the customer lifecycle. So this is really important and really something to keep in mind. Now, copywriting tips. We're going to talk about subject lines. You want to be clear and you want to make it relevant to them. So clearly convey the purpose of the email in the subject line so that they know what's in it, and be sure to make that subject line relevant so they know they're going to get something that's relevant to their situation. Pay attention to the language that you're using. You want to use things like limited time offers or exclusive property previews. These are things that's going to make the prospect open your email and then see what you're talking about. As long as you can get them to open the email, then you can let the value do the rest of the talking. And then again, personalization. So as you can see, this is really important. Try to use their name. That'll make it feel more personal, more custom. And then try to use any data that you have on them to come up with a subject line that will pique their interest. Now, moving on from the subject line, we're going to talk about the actual email copy or the body of the email. Have a clear value proposition, keep it concise, and have compelling call to actions. So clearly communicate the value that the email contains. Definitely try to address pain points and emphasize how you can benefit them. You want to make it easy to read, easy to digest. Don't use long paragraphs, use short paragraphs, bullet points, images, videos, headings, clear bold headings, and this will make it easier to read. And then lastly, call to actions. So you want to be clear. Again, you want to tell them exactly what to do. If it's schedule a viewing, if it's book a call with you, whatever it is, just make sure to be clear about it and just tell them what to do next. And as mentioned earlier, you want to position these strategically. If it's a really short email, then you can just have one at the end. Or if it's longer, you definitely still going to want to have one at the end, but then maybe have 1 to 2 in the middle. And now this is really important. When gathering contact information, you need the prospect's permission. And this is an actual law, so you definitely don't want to mess this up. You need their consent in order to get their email and then start contacting them. So on your lead form, definitely have some terms of service, or on your website, if you just have places to opt into your newsletter, at least have something in the privacy policy, or make it clear to them in some way that you'll be sending them content and that they are giving you their consent. So just be clear about that, and then also make it easy for them to unsubscribe or opt out. So now your actionable next steps. So there's 3 steps for this one. 1, create a lead magnet. 2, set up a sign up form on your website. And then 3, craft a welcome email. So for the lead magnet, it could be something simple, something that you could just download like a guide or a checklist, and just make sure that it's actually valuable. Don't be lazy with this. You actually want to provide value to your potential clients. And then you want to have a sign up form on your website. This should be really easy to add. You don't need to ask too many questions. Just ask for their name, phone, and email. And then you could also maybe ask if they're a buyer or a seller, depending on what it is that you want to give to them. And then you're going to want to craft a welcome email so that when they do actually sign up, they're actually going to get some type of email, most likely with their lead magnet or whatever it is that you said that you would provide to them. And since this is a welcome email, maybe you can introduce yourself, or if you already have an introduction on your website, then you could add something else. But definitely include some gratitude for them subscribing to your list, and then just give them a brief overview of what they can expect. So that's pretty much it for this one, and I'll see you in the next presentation.